And as we're starting off on this week's adventure, you're all in the opening area for the crypt itself. It's still early in the morning, only about 10 a.m. And you know, somewhere deep inside of this area, at an altar kept, lies the scrolls that might yet have some healing magic. Of course, in front of you to the right, as you're first walking in, you would see a small box, about maybe 4 feet deep or so, and a bit large from corner to corner. You'd imagine probably used for someone's burial, as the top of it could be slid off. You were looking to see what was inside that old stone coffin.
I think the vaccine would probably look for to see if there was any dates or something on it, but I don't think I don't think he would be looking to open the tomb, just because I don't know. It's not an abandoned resting place. I don't think it's still very much like the town's crypt,
Fair.
and it's most largely populated by elves, so they probably have a pretty good memory as to who's buried where. But yeah, so we were told that the stuff we're looking for is at the back of the mounds, the burial mounds.
So you know you'd be going pretty deep through this area.
Yeah.
And you would see dates on that crypt to the south, mind you. A little bit older. Looks like they passed away probably some 50 years prior to the present date, so they've been there a while.
Mm. Well, let's proceed, I guess. Oh, that's open.
Indeed, an open and empty stone coffin to the southeast room, though nothing else appears to be inside of that area at a glance.
I wonder if I'm just gonna pop in there and see if there's traces of a body. And I'll look at the ceiling before we go in. I think we've been jumped from the ceiling before, but yeah, I'll go in and see if it looks like a body's been moved, or if it looks like it's just waiting for someone.
You can definitely go ahead and roll a perception check on that one for a generic glance over, just as you take a quick peek at it to see what is going on. With a 15 on perception, as you examine through, you don't notice any detritus or remnants within this one. It does appear to be entirely empty, and never seems to have carried a body as of yet.
I wonder why it would be an empty one so close to the start. I mean, I don't know. I've never managed a graveyard, but wouldn't you think they would, well, do a kind of first in, first spot kind of thing? But, I mean, it's encouraging. There's no signs of a creepy skeleton gonna jump out of us from this one, at least. Knock wood.
And on the plus side, there are a number of torches across the walls, which keeps this area very well lit as you make your way through.
Shall we continue?
Sure.
As Deacon makes their way through, you can see the path starts to split in a few different directions. A small alcove that seems to lead to a dead end at the north, along with a path towards the east and another to the west. Though to the north as well, near that alcove, you can see what appears to be a small display shelf, upon which resting numerous artifacts, though most very detritus in design, and something's skull, humanoid by its appearance.
Any recommendations as to which way we should go?
I think I just need to have a look at these artifacts. I think is that shelf here, Alan?
Heading over to pull that Horatio moment, grab a skull, be like, oh, my good friend Billy, I knew him well, you know? But indeed, a couple things on there, nothing too major. There appears to be a ceremonial wand of some form, very small and handheld, covered in bones, very ornamental, and on the opposite side to that, a dish plate, though nothing lays on it now, and it seems a little yellowed and worn.
Does it look like it was used for offerings? Like, you know, some places leave out food for the dead or ghosts so they don't come looking for anything.
There
Or is
doesn't
it
seem
just
to be any overt stains on there of any specific. It seems to be in decent condition. Probably wasn't used too much for food, or if it was, it's long since worn away, but you can't find staining on it that would give an obvious use for that. Probably ceremonial.
okay? Well, it's a fancy wand at least. I wonder if it was used for reading the dead their last rites. As for which way to go, I'm not sure there, Deacon. Guess we could just flip a coin, left or right. 1 for left, 2 for right.
Suppose that's a fair way to do it, given our many options.
I say
Yeah.
even for left, odd for right.
Even for left, odd for right.
Left.
Works for me. Oh, looks like it goes up a ways to the north. Look, another empty coffin down there.
I want to pull like a Baldur's Gate 3 style narration for a moment there. As the team ponders in which direction to travel between the left and the right, Inestri, with an anxious smile, pulls a single dice out from her pocket and says that an even path will show the truth. You know?
Yeah.
YouTube's got me spoiled with that thing. But indeed.
Oh god, I scrolled away by accident. Now I can't find where we were. There we go.
I was about to ping you back.
No, thank you. I got it. I just forget how to use. I'm in my defense, I'm using a trackpad on a Chromebook, so it's my own fault.
That's very true. That's no problem there at all. The trackpads can be rough to work with. I'm not gonna Make side
Is that
note on that one.
mouse still up there, Jillian?
It is, but I'm reclined on the couch, so I don't really want to sit up, so to have a flat surface for my mouse.
Fair enough. We're waiting on a computer chair being delivered, so Jillian can use the desk in the spare room.
Oh, nice. Get the comfort going on that way.
Yeah.
I told you about my coworker's chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, bit worn
My
out and
coworker-
makes it a pain in the ass, right? I had to.
Well, if Dean's chair wrecked his back, I'm not sure I should start using it, because I already have back issues from working with children for 15 years.
That's fair. All that crouch over and bending into the no thank you. Well, as you're taking your way towards the left, you can see that to the north the path continues to move onward, spiraling out as there are multiple positions. But to the west, you see a number of coffers before you. 3 of them in the middle all have an edifice on top of some great soldier or leader or something of that sort, but the dates on them are all considerably older than you would expect. The far to the north, as well as you can see, lies a closed coffin, and to the south, well, you'd find you're no longer alone in this room. As you are looking in, you would see, seated beside it, an elf who would turn and look towards the group of you with a soft glare for her eyes, as she is taking the time to clean, it would seem, this coffin, though. She only looks toward you for a brief moment before returning to her work. Probably one of the hands that keeps this place in running order.
Hello. So sorry to interrupt. Didn't expect to see anyone down here.
They would give a slight wave of the hand at that, advising it's no problem at all. We're just taking care of a little bit of spring cleaning and preparation work for any who may pass. Got to keep a few of them ready.
We noticed that there's a couple of empty ones. I'm curious, are they reserved for people? Is that why they're empty close to the front? I thought they would have.
And she
You would
gives
have
a
to go.
light shake of her head at that one, says, No. That front area is for display purposes. When the deceased pass, it is comforting for people to greet them onward to the next side. So we have that front room where we'll often put people on display. After that is done, then they are laid to rest. It's an entire process. You must be fairly new to our town.
Oh, yeah, we've been here for, what, a day, I think, maybe?
I don't even think it's been a day.
Feels like it's been weeks. The best joke you can always make between sessions. But you've only been here for a few hours. You basically came in, were granted admittance to this town which is afraid of outsiders, spoke with the mayor, and spoke with some healers, and made your way towards this area.
We're actually looking for some things that were left here by Phoenix, the healer here in town. He said that she left them at the. No, it's not Phoenix. The wrong note. Adriel.
I was gonna say, damn, Dan, you're getting good.
I saw Phoenix finds a medical textbook, and I was like, no, hang on. So I was like, oh, it must be the healer, and I was like, no, that's Dan. Adriel. Adriel said she left some things at the back of the mounds.
They give a nod and would confirm it'd be up that way and towards the right, at the very end of the path, essentially. Anything they'd be messing around with would be back there towards one of the rear altars in the area.
Okay, that's good. This will sound like a strange question, but is there anything dangerous in here at all?
She squints her eyes towards you. Now, you can see that look of concern there, almost as if she viewed it as a veiled threat towards herself. She just says very slowly, "No." But now you're getting the side eye from her.
Oh,
so sorry. We've been through a lot in the last couple weeks, and we just like to be extra careful and make sure that before we explore too much, we have a certain expectation.
I'm pretty sure that ghosts are real is the thing, and this is tomb. So if they're going to be anywhere, surely it would be here. No?
She'd give a slight scoff as she looks back towards the casket that she's working on cleaning and prepping, as she says rather casually, "I ain't afraid of no ghosts."
I like that. That's good.
I mean, I had to.
Yeah. Well, my
Thanks.
name's...
Now that theme is just stuck in my head.
At least it's a good one.
Whenever I hear Ghostbusters, though, it makes me think of Team 4 Star's Ghost Napper.
Oh,
Yes!
loved it. Oh, Vegeta!
No!
Funny, I haven't heard Ghost Nappa in a while. Gives him a phone call. "Hey, no, I'm on Earth. I'm training with this guy named Hercule. He says it's gonna be really cool." And then he just leaves. Love the theory. "I wish everyone killed by Frieza was back." Nappa reappears. He's like, "Wait, what?" Oh,
He
Team
took
Force.
the Dragon Balls, Vegeta.
Oh. It's like the one thing I think that went up as a big parody of Dragon Ball that the Dragon Ball franchise didn't go like, "Okay, we're gonna sue you to oblivion." They sort of looked and said, "Okay, this is all right. It's acceptable. Let's just not talk about it." Though I will say, I think, I like to believe anyway, anybody who watched Dragon Ball Super, you might remember there was a point where Vegeta wrecked the Room of Spirit and Time or something, and Popo says to him, "You do that again, you're banned," and shot him a super glare.
Uh-huh.
And anybody who knows Team 4 Stars Popo.
Yeah.
Yup.
I like the way they dealt with the that Garlic Jr. filler art. Clean that up.
Clean that up. What? Oh, I love it though, because he's like, obviously a character that can be viewed as a very offensive manner, but all the fan base loves him.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I don't know how they managed to walk that tightrope, but that's Dragon Ball. They are famous, and we all love them. Do we love them because they're famous, or are they famous because we love them? Oof.
Yes.
That's a theological debate. All right, so you've been indicated that up towards the northeastern corner of this map is where you're going to find the Room of Spirit and Time. Damn it. The room with all the magical spells to help you.
Well, I'm Dave. It was nice to meet you. If you need help with anything, just give us a call. We'll be that way.
And she'd give you the casual nod and say, "Charmed, I am sure."
What's your name? Just in case we run into you again.
She looks up towards you and nods. "Elise, nice to meet you."
Is that name familiar to anybody else, or am I just crazy?
I mean, now I'm stretching my, I started stretching out my rhyming and all that, but the only thing I can think of is like Fiorilis by Beethoven.
No. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I just was thinking previous campaign, but I think I'm just...
Oh, yep.
just...
It's like, did Alan give us another red herring, or is this a clue?
There. Yeah.
I don't blame you any.
Can never be too prepared with you, Alan.
I like my plots. I don't like making plot holes, so I like making big detailed plots. It's half the fun. You never know when that cookie that you ate 15 sessions ago will actually turn out to give you heartburn.
Okay, I think would it be possible? I think. How do I search this on this character sheet? To do a, I don't think I've got the wisdom for this, but I'll try anyway. I do a sense motive on Elise. Just she's, we're probably just bothering her
Oh, by all
at her
means.
job, but just in the off chance, because she's not quite as chatty as other people we've met. So I think you attempt a single secret perception check, and I don't know how to share this in the window. Do I just? No, that's the browser.
Oh, for your sense motive in Pathfinder?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so I think you roll the perception check so that I can't tell if I've failed or not. I don't think I've got any feats or anything that affect that.
Yep, because they always like these ones to be the GM's secret ones, so, you know.
Yeah.
I like my private checks, don't get me wrong. There's only a couple that I actually ever get to use, but as you're rubbing your jaw wondering, you're thinking, yeah, this is not a very friendly person, but if they work with the dead, that might make sense, but they don't seem to stand out anything out of the norm.
Okay. Yep. Well,
They seem to be acting normal. You're just not sure why they'd be
yeah.
quite so dark, you know?
Yeah, I imagine it's probably picked this job to not have to deal with too many people, and then 4 people show up going, "Hello."
You might not be too far off with that one, actually.
A ghost reel, woolly jumpers. Okay, bye. Sorry. Well, so the vaccine started to feel more and more awkward. We'll go. Well, have a good day then. Elise, and head off in the direction that we're pointing to.
I was just gonna say, Nestor just starts pulling him along. Come on.
It's been a pleasure, Elise. And then Deacon will just walk off.
She'd give you all a polite nod, wave, you know, the usual good stuff. But not much of a chatter from her, indeed. Very much a person who likes her work, and not so much for other people. By continuing on, you can see more of the same in this area. More coffers, more small miniature mausoleums holding bodies of people in them. Numbers and dates and ages from older times. Deacon wandering along like I was expecting skeletons and zombies and gnolls and all this good stuff, and instead I got a polite elf. I might get
Which
you yet,
Deacon will take.
Your first encounter with the undead was not a good time.
Yeah.
I almost nuked your character with crazy dice rolls. Since then, though, the dice have been like, alright, trial by fire, but he's okay now.
I have a world question for your setting here. Does it vary from city to city, or like people to people, what they do if they're dead? Is it more common to burn, or is it more common to bury, or is it like or is it more granular, like dwarves will bury, humans will burn, that kind of thing?
For the most part, you can find most people will follow the traditions of their people, from how it goes. You know, dwarves like stonework, humans like burning, that sort of good stuff. Every now and again, you'll find places like this one, which are more of a conglomerate of multiple different races who stuck it out, and have created their own cast for burial, which in this one they've taken over this mausoleum style for the last bit. But for the most part, you can usually expect people to follow what the race they'd normally do is. Mind you, there's not very many source books for this setting, so that's also a Google search in advance, so, you know. But you can expect the people to generally follow that, unless you've got a town that does their own thing like this. I like my small hamlets, and these sort of things will pop up more often than not because as this is a broken world, as people no longer trust like they used to, heck, this town not a month ago was hit by another raid. They gave you that information already. People become tight, close-knit communities who generally don't seek much for outside help. This town is, for the most part, self-sufficient. They don't need extra help from the outside, usually. So you'll find a lot of customs and all that, sometimes unique to an area.
Okay, cool.
Of course, walking through this top area, another 3 sets of stone holding bodies. Another small display area in the front with a few more pieces of reliquary on them. What appears to be a small doll of a horse. Another plate with the image of a shield emblazoned on it. And the third one appears to be a large saucer. Very pristine in condition, probably only ever used to hold water. Of course, as Deacon makes his way a little forward, as the vaccine's probably checking that one out.
Yeah.
Phoenix might be looking on just like unable to get the Mariah Carey out of his head. Sorry. Though I don't know if that's actually playing in stores yet, but it's coming.
God, don't remind me.
I did
Last
see
year
his...
was the first year we ever did it.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, one of the managers kept complaining until they actually turned the music on. Otherwise, we didn't play it.
Oh.
It's partially due to the general manager. His daughter died.
Alright, with the pause off and we're back in. As you're walking through this area now, as Deacon and Phoenix are but steps away, you can see a slight purple glow from up ahead. Glancing through, of course, there's more of the usual in the area. You can find some more crevices, some more spaces, and some more zones that have caskets in them. My god, the brain turned off for a half a second. But ahead of you, indeed, you can see an altar made of stone. Affixed to this area, behind it, a large stonework filled with much ash, all of which has been burnt out a long time ago. And a soft purple light coming from a pair of lightly tinted glass panes at the back of this room on the wall, from which candles behind it shed that glow across.
Oh.
As Deacon approaches this room, despite being told there's no undead, there's no shambling masses or anything, he's still going to draw his mace.
Yep.
Not bad idea.
You are not the
Nestri,
only one armed.
Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
does this look magical?
Great question. I will cast Detect Magic.
Now, let me just see here. So as near as I can tell with Detect Magic in Pathfinder, it's not limited by your sight or blocked by things. It's got a 30-foot unblockable bubble.
There you go. I linked it.
Yep. Because I know in 5e it blocks the hell out of it. In this, I don't think it's blocked by anything. It's a 30-foot bubble. The base level, mind you. It's just got some standard that says something is magical within 30 feet of me. And while you are standing inside of that room, then you cast your detect magic. You do indeed sense that something in there is magical. Or at least within 30 feet of where you are. Which would be about that big of a radius? Mind you, I'm just gonna turn off.
Well, I mean, this is odd because the town was fairly adamant that there was no magic here, and that seems.
Yeah, they were fairly adamant about no magic, but the healer said she put her magical stuff down here because she can't use it.
That's true.
This could also be a new development that they're unaware of. Which, if it is the case, I would suggest I go in first because I have decent armor and might be able to tank a few hits.
You would think that Elise might have mentioned a glowing purple light. Wouldn't that be something? Well, maybe if it wasn't.
Remember, tinted glass panes.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm suspicious, but I'm a little suspicious. But, I will follow. I mean, I will go in first if you want, or I will follow your lead.
Last time you went in first to a room, you nearly died and also got inflicted with a disease.
I do have quite terrible luck, don't I? Yeah. Well,
Let someone else shoulder this burden and get inflicted with a disease.
right. Doesn't look like anything has exploded on him yet.
Well, as he walks in, no troubles. Peering around. Nothing in here seems to react to your presence as you take a few footsteps in across the stone and dirt under your feet.
And nothing's on the ceiling.
He's looking around. It's like, we got any cloakers up there looking to drop down and crush? Nope, you're good.
Do I see the discarded magical equipment in question?
Nothing at all. Only a large bowl set into the middle of this altar as part of it. Some little bit of dust and detritus at the bottom of it, and a ceremonial rod to the right of that, but nothing else that you can see at a glance in this area.
I can't seem to spot the magical equipment in question around here.
I wonder if it's behind the altar. I could jump over, have a look, or the back of the mounds. Maybe it's under it. Is it a solid stone, like stone slab, or is it like a table?
It is set on a pair of legs on either side, which brings it up a couple feet from the ground. And you can see clearly to the other side that there doesn't seem to be anything else around it.
Is the liquid clear, or is it very murky?
Oh, the stuff back here at the back?
Yes.
Ash. A bunch of ash sitting inside of a large stone basin on the floor.
Ah, my mistake. I thought it looked like a liquid.
Oh, do you think it's in the ash? Would she have buried it under? But ash suggests something's burned here, so it wouldn't be a good place to hide things.
If we were to search the ashes, I would hope Phoenix would use his magical hand to do it instead, in case it has something in it.
Meanwhile, Phoenix is thinking, I don't know.
I have a stick. We could use a stick.
There's limits to the weight in which Mage Hand can manipulate, so I don't know if we can make it all the way to the bottom of that.
Fair enough.
I suppose I could extend my fighter's fork and try and sift through it.
Let's make sure we're 100% sure that's where we want to look, because that could be the dead you're disturbing, which could cause some
Yeah, that's a good point.
areas.
Fair point.
The vaccine squeezes by and starts like looking at like the stonework and the base of this thing, trying to figure out what it might be for, or if there's like any hidden, like I don't know, like a rock just hiding something behind in the floor.
Glancing it over,
Yeah.
giving it a quick once to see if anything stands out. It's a big stone rock, very large, with a hollow. Looks like it dips down in the middle, has that circular design, so probably like a very large bowl. But, you know, in this case, some 7 feet across.
Is there like any ventilation in here? Is there a
None.
Alright. Well, they probably don't burn things here. Is there any traces of stuff in the bowl here? On the altar? Like, does it look like they pour stuff in? Or something like that?
Nothing too specific, no. The bowl itself is slightly stained and carries a very small powdering of that same ash on it. But that's the only thing that seems to stand out.
Excuse me.
I wonder if this is an offering bowl that they burn stuff for the dead and then add it to here. Would I have encountered anything along this lines? With my occulty background. Or my... Would I have encountered anything like this situation with like my esoteric lore or like cult background? Like, do I have any inkling as to what kind of practice this was?
Off top, at a glance, looking these things over, seeing a big piece of stonework covered in dark ash, you're not 100% certain.
Is this tool on the slab present in game, or is it just the map decoration?
Yeah, that's just the little one that was left there for
All right.
most likely religious purpose by the look of it.
I'm leaning towards sifting through the ash. I'm not too sure what this, or the vaccine will quickly pull out a scrap of paper and like scratch on it like a small like common prayer for the dead. Put it in the bowl, light that on fire, and then put the ash in the pile of bigger ash and see if anything happens.
That's one of those nice to watch processes. The rest of the party members might be looking on like, oh yeah, no, look, he's got some good skill. As you go through, light that, burn it, take the ash, scoop it out, and pour it on top of the other ash. It just adds to the pile. Nothing seems to change.
I'll be honest with you, I did think that was a long shot, but doesn't hurt to try. I wonder if perhaps we're getting, a bit focused on a red herring here. Would Adriel really have hidden it in the ashes? I mean, that would be odd. Is there anything in that chamber next to you, Phoenix? Maybe we got the wrong end. We didn't look behind the right thing. I mean, it seems like it would be here, but she seemed a bit too reasonable to hide it in ash. That's my thinking. We let this percolate, do a more manual search. Like, I don't know, there was a unlit sconce here, a little thing behind here. I think I'm just putting my hand in that ash pile though.
Magic was detected in this room, correct?
Yeah.
Yep, something definitely magical within 30 feet of the middle of that room.
Oh. In the
Within
middle of the
50
room.
feet of the room doesn't give an exact location.
Gives you that broad area of about 30 feet out, which I said was from middle when she cast the spell out. So, unfortunately the icon I have here isn't going for the full cover. But you'd be looking at least that much cover. And seeing if there's a way to actually make that viewable above, but the walls are blocking it on this version, which isn't too bad of a thing.
I'd like to try something.
Go for it.
I'll cast Detect Magic from here.
I'm thinking to myself, where the hell did you go? I moved away on the map, the one area you went, and I couldn't go there for you, so...
Don't go where
your
I can't.
vision's coming out to about there at most, and you're not picking anything up.
Is there any way we could determine if there were like a secret compartment hidden somewhere in this room?
A good old-fashioned perception check would let you go around looking for secrets or anything like that in a room, of course.
Alright, I'm a doodad.
If you say it out loud, I'll roll it. Do we roll the check or do you, Alan?
Oh, you all roll your own perception checks.
Yeah.
There's only a couple I do secret, because I find the secret roll, it takes away from the players. And sometimes when you're in this situation where you've been role-playing for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes, or even hours, when you get finally a chance to get a dice roll, you're like, ooh, I'm ready for this. The DM goes, it's me, actually. Something about that for me. But anyone who wants to make that perception check is more than welcome. Deacon's making the first jump to scan around the room, so we can see what they get for theirs.
Ooh, I did not roll well.
Meanwhile, Nestri's glancing like, I like the purple. The purple light. It's very nice. How'd they make the purple light? And you examined that for like 15 minutes?
That checks out, honestly.
Alright, and I'm going to act, despite the fact that I know this probably is going to end up well, I'm going to activate my nanite surge, so that gives me a +2 to this skill check. I do not know how to apply that on the perception check, however. It doesn't give me the option.
When you so when it comes up with a little box
Yes.
for the perception check, you can put like a circumstance modifier on that. It should be just below where it says like your proficiency, like expert or trained.
Alright,
14.
Okay, it was actually a 15. I didn't know how to make it.
Oh, it only gave you the
extra
one. Yep, you have to type over it and turn it into a 2. And I've just now noticed, for some reason, the clock is not ticking in the background. Let me see here. There we go. I'm not sure why it got stuck, but I'm going to skip forward an hour. That gets the clock ticking again. It's one of those ultimate tools. Once you have it, and it stopped again. Once you have it, it's really hard to go without. As you're glancing around, scouring through the room, looking as you crouch underneath and take a look underneath this large altar, you notice in one area the ground has been disturbed and a pile of it shifted with a large stone set atop of it. Clearly, something has been buried.
And I'll say I noticed that because odd thing about nanite surge, I start to glow within 10 feet of me, so all of a sudden Deacon just mysteriously starts to glow. And he spots, aha, there's something buried over here.
Sorry, can you say that last bit again?
Yeah, at the last bit is he notices something's buried over here under the table there and starts digging it up.
Okay. Are you... Is the magic affecting you? Are you...
I don't remember casting light.
Deacon starting to realize that he's glowing. Yeah, some magic must have been must have affected me somehow. I'm not too sure why I'm glowing. Inside his head, he's saying crap.
Do you feel alright? Okay.
Yeah, I feel fine. And digging up in that location, do I find the magical equipment in question?
Well, as your hands are digging, the left hand gets stuck on a rock, and it gets ripped clean off, so now you're all right. I'm sorry, I had to run with that joke. I heard it earlier. No, you have no trouble digging through the very soft dirt after moving that stone out of the way. A few full handsfuls, and the next thing you know, clang, clang. Your hands would be striking a solid metal box buried below.
Alright, I believe I found it, and I will motion to the metal box I found.
Good job. Should we open it in here or out in the hallway?
I vote for the hallway.
Right, okay. I guess if this magical light made Deacon glow, then what would it do to the magical items?
I mean, I can open it, or try to. I'm worried about him interacting with it.
I'll be honest, Nestri, I hadn't even considered being worried about opening it. I just got way too excited to see some magic scrolls, I'll be honest.
I see.
And if we're being honest here, it is not a magical effect that is making me glow. My circuits are glowing.
I also put a little glow shiny effect on you too. It moves with your token.
I noticed. Thank you very much.
I like the shimmer.
You can take a step back.
Excuse me, you're what now?
My circuits are glowing. I am not a regular human. I am an androphyn, and he will realizing there's no way to keep it hidden anymore, he takes off his helmet, and you'll see skin barely attached to what is obviously a android body, and quickly puts it back on.
Mystery throws up at her mouth a little bit, but tries to hide it.
What? Right. And you're an Androphis. Oh. What?
I tend to keep it hidden because we like to blend in and keep ourselves hidden, and it is very difficult for me to do that because I was born very wrong, as you could tell.
You were born, not made. Circuits, the mechanical, right?
Our creation is a very confusing process, which I don't really know much about.
So where are you from?
I was originally part of a larger group of androids that we created our own little base in this small town. But yeah, I'm from around here.
And are you like the last one, or is there more of you? I didn't think that I've never heard of them before.
I'm fairly certain there's still a few around. The only issue is I believe the lack of magic affected our ability to make more of us, so there might not be any more new ones coming out.
Is this why you never eat?
Eating isn't completely necessary, but I just eat on my own because it's hard to do that in a helmet.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for sharing. Well, shows a level of trust. So thanks for that. And the glowing then was your circuits, right?
Yes, I wanted to make sure we found it, those magical items, but I didn't realize my circuitry glowing would be that noticeable.
And okay. And the
2 seconds, guys. I just gotta go to the bathroom.
okay. You said, and the skin not really being attached. Is that the? You said you were born wrong. Is that the wrong part? Or
That and a failing heart.
your heart is failing?
Yes, I have a strange device that I have to wind up every day to keep it going.
Right. And I suppose it would be rather difficult to fix. More complicated than the clock tower. I'm guessing.
Most likely, but the book we found has some instructions as to how it works, so maybe.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure what to say. But you've saved my life a couple of times by jumping into a fight. So, if I can help with your situation, I'll do my best.
Thank you. I will gladly take you up on that offer, and in my opinion, nothing more needs to be said.
Fair enough.
Back, by the way.
Hello. Is Fergus up there, by the way? It just...
Yeah, he's asleep on his bed. Well, he's
Okay.
awake now because I'm moving around, but
Right. So he came down to stink out the office with his stinky treat, then ran back up the stairs. I see.
well, I
Okay.
guess maybe you should have been the one to give him the sticky treat, and then maybe I would have been the one to suffer. But you know.
Okay. Right, well. That we've had one big revelation today. How about we see what's in the box?
Can I try opening it? Is it locked?
One second. There we go. As you pop the box, it does have a small padlock on the front.
Okay. You guys
Yes.
want to try to look for a key, or do you want
I
me to try to open?
thieves' tools.
Cool. I have good dexterity.
Well, by all means. Do you have thievery trained?
I was just about to check. Oh, wait. Yes, I have a +9.
A +9?
Yeah.
The vaccine will hand over his thieves' tools. I have +6.
All right. I will get close to one of the torches and concentrate. Is there a way I could check to see if it's like trapped or anything before I try to open it? Or do I need something for that?
You should be able to look for traps because you're trained in thievery.
Okay.
Um,
Is that alright, Alan? What is it, a do I use a thievery check to see if I can find traps? Like how does the check work?
I think that's it for it. Let me just a second here. I haven't had that pop up in a little bit in Pathfinder.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the text on.
I think it's anyone trained in perception is allowed to make a check. I don't think there's any problem. Yeah, you are able to make a perception check so long as you are trained in perception most of the time for that one.
Anybody have better perception than me? I have a +5.
+7.
What are you looking over?
Sure.
Hand him the box.
With a 20, the vaccine cannot find anything out of the norm about it. It appears to just be a regular lock.
Looks fine to me.
Alright. Should I roll my check now, or?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Oh, that was more directed at Alan. I
Oh,
don't like
okay.
to hit the roll. I don't like to hit roll before you give me the green light to do so.
I thought that you're checking with the team. By all means.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's perception because it's if it's a trap, it's versus its stealth proficiency, right? Or stealth DC. Okay, that's a. Sorry, I just the chapter of the book just kicked itself into my memory.
Doing nice on them dice rolls, that's for sure. Kicking it through the roof, you have no trouble as you take a time to quickly unlock that one.
I will open the box.
And as you crack the lock open on that box and pop it apart, you would find inside the box a few wrappings here and there and a few pieces of medical equipment, but most importantly, a couple of scrolls in cases.
Oh, there's the money right there. Would I be able to have a look at one of those scrolls?
If you have the bravery to do it.
Bravery or recklessness? I took scroll thaumaturgy as a class feat, so I should be able to at least read them, unless they blow up in my face. But that's the fun of being a reckless former cultist. Yeah, the vaccine will try and have a read at one of the scrolls.
As you take a moment, popping the cap off the top and taking a scroll out, glancing across it, you see lettering on the scroll beginning to shimmer with a familiar light, the essence of magic flowing across it as you glance down and through, seeing the words almost shimmer to life. But it is indeed a spell scroll for healing. Restoration, in fact, for that one that you've pulled out.
Restoration. Okay. Restoration. The vaccine, we'll roll that up and put it back in the scroll case and then look at the other scroll.
Pulling out that one and giving it a read over. It is a copy of Remove Disease.
Okay, right. This is good. This is what we need. But there's two of us and one scroll. I don't suppose anyone knows how to make a copy of this.
Ooh, great question.
Hang on.
You're looking at crafting a scroll. It's like the other crafting of magical items in this one. You'll need to pick a spell when you're putting it in, and you either cast it during the process or someone else must do so in your presence. The magic gets trapped inside the scroll in the process, and the casting must come from a spellcaster expending a spell slot. You can't cast a scroll from a spell produced from another item.
Right, okay. So, well, I guess me and
Ooh,
Ula
wait.
could. Oh,
I might be able to. 1 second. You can also use the Arcana skill to add other spells that you find on your adventures. So you lose some lower level spell slots as you increase in level. That's literally all the sentence says, but I might be able to.
What feature is that?
It's in the description of my spell book because I use the spell book.
But you use the arcane tradition, right?
Yeah. So does that limit? I can only learn arcane spells.
I think so, because remove disease is divine and primal.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry. Got excited there for a second.
Oh, no worries. Right. Well, looks like me and Ulag are gonna need to have a talk. See who we use the scroll on. But we have it. It looks like it'll work.
By chance, did her alchemy list book survive?
Giving a glance through, you don't see any books for her spells, just those couple scrolls and a few generic reagents.
I'm just taping up my notes. If I'm a bit quiet, that's why.
Kiddo's partway through eating right now, so she's a little loud, so I'm just toggling mute, don't mind me.
Oh, no worries. The good thing about having using online notes is you can make links and put pictures in.
Oh, that's a smart way to do it. Well, you've made a good point, though. You have found the scrolls, but there's only one with the curing spell on it.
Yeah, I don't want to make any decisions on it until John's here. That feel like that would be bad form to say. Yeah, I used the scroll on myself. And I think he would probably tell me to use it because he's playing a paladin and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to make that assumption. Right. Well. Okay. And you said that the other stuff was like alchemy ingredients in the book.
Some remnants of some old reagents they may have used for scribing spells and doing their usual sort of clerical duties.
I wonder. So this town does not like magic. They would be opposed to most things magical. I was going to say maybe we should take this to Adriel, show her that magic there's a flicker of it in the world still. Maybe she could try making another scroll, but they don't like magic. I'm trying to think. I'm just reading through my notes here. I wonder how she would. Is it wise to tell her that magic's back in some faint form? I think she would freak out, or she would help us. I don't know what judgment call to make here. Because I was thinking maybe there's an outside chance that she might make us another scroll if she remembers how. But she can't cast magic. Only we can. So she couldn't. Moot point then. Well, we found what we're looking for, so should we make our way out? Maybe some fresh air will help us puzzle this out.
Might as well, I suppose. Oh, and also it would be by this time that the shimmering effect would end.
I'll turn that off on your token.
Just wanted to make that clear in case an elf spotted me while I was glowing.
The poor elf would just be like, okay, maybe ghosts are real. What the hell?
Right.
The usual rules on using spell scroll also applies. Like, to cast from a spell scroll, the spell must appear on your spell list and that sort of stuff. But that's
because I specifically took the feat so that I don't have to follow that rule.
Hey, very nice.
I also took a feat that lets me cast spell scrolls from any tradition. It was between scrolls and wands. I wasn't too sure what to pick, but I went scrolls.
And thankfully as well with this one, you didn't have to go through the processes of identifying. It's a common spell from a spell list known by the party. So it's just a recall knowledge action, and you automatically succeed to identify the spell.
Oh. This is a dead end. I thought it would be a loop and a way out.
Nope, you have found yourself coming to a broken and worn area of this zone. The mausoleum-style area before you, broken apart, revealing an empty cask underneath, and what appears to be some further extension they were building on the east wall.
Vaccine makes his way back up the corridor going, oh, dead end. Back the way we came.
Well, we found what we were looking for. Should we just go?
Oh yeah, I'd suggested earlier that we should head out and just have a think about what to do. But basically, I don't want to use the scroll until I can speak to John, because we're both infected.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I missed the part where you had suggested it, because I realized I didn't select a new spell that I should have when I leveled up. So I was reading through spells, so I might have missed a bit.
That's a bit
There's
of a
this
thing to
cool
read.
one. There's a cool one called Flame Wisp that I think I'll prepare for a little while anyway. 3 faintly glowing wisps float around your head. Each time you hit a creature with a strike, one of the wisps goes hurtling toward that creature, dealing 1d4 fire damage. And, okay, if you cast a spell with the fire trait while you have fewer than 3 wisps, a new wisp appears. Cool. So I could attack and use, produce flame on my spell strike, and then regen a flame wisp. Sorry, there's a lot of spells in Pathfinder.
Yeah, there is.
It is
So my
exciting.
curiosity, once I'm sure they're 30 feet away, I'm going to detect magic again to see if there's anything else.
Making your way through the room and pinging for that spell doesn't pull many other things that catch your attention as you casually walk through. Nothing else besides the items you've already picked, but you can freely ignore those when you are aware of what they are, which is a nice little add-in.
Is Elise still tending the sarcophagus?
Yep, she's still back there.
The vaccine will approach him and goes, excuse me again. Apologies for interrupting. I was wondering what the bowl full of ash was for in the back room.
And she'll pause as she lifts up her head and throws her hair back a little bit to get it out of her face where she had just been doing a bit more cleaning work, and squints a bit and then shakes her head. No. The bowl isn't filled with ash. That's a common misconception, I suppose. That's just a very light layer we have on top to protect this volume of lye that we have beneath there. And it's very easy to fill a body with lye and with water in order to remove the flesh so only bone remains, or to bring the moisture from the flesh as well. Either one works. But consider yourself very lucky for not having put your hands in there, she says as she looks back towards her work. I imagine you'd like to keep those fingers.
They are useful.
As after all, that entire dish was nothing more than lye, which, as we know, has numerous beneficial chemical properties for cleaning, processing, and is absolutely detrimental to a person's skin. Actually, you know what? I'm even gonna do an old 1999 throwback to Brad Pitt on that one. Anybody watch the movie Fight Club?
Yes.
We can talk about that.
So you know the chemical burn scene.
It's been a while, but I think so.
He's staring at the main character. He's chatting up to him, telling him all these chemical lessons. The main character's like, why? As he leans down and slowly gives the main character a kiss on the hand and says, because this is a chemical burn, and then pours lye right on top of it. While the main character's freaking out, he shows him he has the same scar burn mark on the back of his own hand. But it's pretty brutal what it does to a person's body. The chemical burn of lye. So consider yourselves lucky. Now, just powdered lye on its own, thrown onto the skin, isn't nearly as detrimental as mixing it with water and doing it first, but it still will burn you like a second-degree burn, if it's concentrated enough. The ash on top, it would seem, was only set there to help keep it stable. Plus, there's a whole process of leaching it to get it out from wood as you're burning charcoal and etc. But I'm not here to give you a science lesson.
I'm glad I had a stick. I always go stick first.
Yep. You would have been mixing it around and seeing, that's a lot of white powder all of a sudden underneath all this black powder. Wait a second here. Have one poor character lean in, I'ma snort it, and it's like, no.
How did your character die? Well,
science. He was killed by science. Goodness. Well. But she gives you the info and basically says, good thing you didn't stick your hand in it.
right. Okay. Well, thank you. Have a good day. The vaccine will turn back around when just a sense of relief.
And she'd greet you well with that and give the nod before returning back to her work. As for the crypts itself, unless you were looking to do a bit of grave robbing, there may not be too many things here to catch your attention beyond that. You're not being jumped by any zombies, you're not having skeletons coming after you.
Not really wanting to grave rob a town where we're trying to build some goodwill with. Just having a quick look around. Answer my own curiosity. I saw there's like a squeezable space here, so I was like just checking. But yeah, I think we're happy enough to make our way out. As far as tombs go, that's quite pleasant.
Sorry, kiddo was stretching her lungs for a minute there. And as you finish through and make your way out of this area, the question would rely, where are you heading to next? I'll go ahead and I'll switch the map back to the town itself.
Probably the windmill.
Well, like most good places that have a nice fancy windmill set on its own, we do have a decent map for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to the Twin Mills, as I call it. While you're walking through this town with a few people giving you a glance here and there, I am going to attempt to flex a little bit on this map, and hopefully it works. Let me just load in your characters. There you go. Let me know if you're seeing just a black screen, but you should be seeing the area itself.
I am seeing a purple screen. I'll refresh, see if that changes.
Map might take an extra minute to load this time. Does anybody see game map? Or are y'all getting purple? All right, because it should be an animated game map, but the resolution's a little bit lower on it.
I've got it.
Awesome. So it looks like, Dean, yeah, you need a reload. Now you should see a little bit of water bristle, but it should be lower resolution. Since I wanted to test this before I started exporting WebP movies. They take a fair bit longer to create, but they're much higher quality at much smaller size.
Oh yeah, I got it now.
Awesome. Should see that nice little spinning of the windmill. And a nice big spinning windmill towards the south, which is more or less where you're probably looking to go visit.
That's cool.
River's got a bit of a shiver. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Did anyone else see the gears turning inside the windmill too, or is it just me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Because you can see from your vision through the window where that would go in, and you'd see those gears.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. One nice thing for Dungeon Alchemist, which is why I love it so much, is it can export video maps. The best version with the highest quality takes forever, but this version is very quick to shoot one out, so I just shot one out this morning to see how it would run. But if it's loading for everybody, awesome. I can take the time and make pretty maps and have those export and import them when we're between sessions.
Yeah, it looks good.
Now there is a big old windmill here. And it's a fairly quiet area, though you do see ahead, besides the second milling zone, which itself is just an entirely self-contained, very small building. But there's also a large farm in this area on this small little peninsula, which has a few people actively going through and taking care of it. But the windmill itself stands tall and proud, slowly spinning in the soft wind that blows. The technology is getting better. We can build more things. And I think, I'm just going to test here. Yep. I fixed the follow command, by the way. They've got that working again. The mount up was giving me some trouble, so I haven't really tried it too much. But if you want to follow another token, if you're right behind them, hover over their token after you click on your own and tap F, and your token will follow directly behind them. Jillian, since you're usually taking care of some stuff on tablet and some extra work and you're chilling with a trackpad, do you want me to have you following Devaxian in general?
Sure, that'd be great.
All right, give me 1 sec. I'm just going to bring your token up to there. I'll use the follow command. Walls or something might break that, but now as Devaxian moves, you'll go into the last space they were in. Unless you do a diagonal, then it's calculating 5 foot, it gives you exactly 5 instead of the 7, you know. Now there is the windmill up ahead, and behind it, a secondary smaller building for general access and storage, you would imagine, but overall, a windmill doesn't have a lot of people coming and going, just slowly spinning away.
It's quite peaceful.
Despite
Very
the
idyllic.
very picturesque town of happiness here. Also, I'm just threw up one into the off topic because I was playing around with some AI gen. I always like to use Flux for an example because she's such a specific style and design of character that if you can get pretty close to that on the get-go, it's nice. But a couple of them were pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Imagine if Flux had wings.
Oh
Jeez.
She did.
God.
At one point, we
Yeah.
got one of our, I think,
The
epic boons. No, there was another thing. Like you gave us. Alan, do you remember there was something near the end?
There was
I
a
know we had
few
a-
things. I think you all were able to fly by the end of it. I'm not sure about the wings because I can't
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
remember.
We had a cloak that acted like wings for a while.
Yeah,
Like, it was like
I
3
do-
charges.
I know what you're talking about, but there was one of our. I'm pretty sure it was one of our epic boons right at the very end, where he gave us all a fly speed or something like that.
Yeah.
And you described it as like we could just be like levitating, or our physical characteristics could change. And yeah, Flux had wings.
The only downside to those pictures I generated, I said, give big muscles just to see if she'd be a bit more bulky in the picture because, I mean, Flux was almost 30 in the strength department, you know, and then in the end was. So the total tiny leaf, oh yeah, look at me. No, give me slightly more bulk on there. Those muscles can break walls open. Just, you know, respect that. But it came out a little good mix. One came through though it just looks like someone wearing blue dragon armor, which is really strange. I'm throwing that one up as well. But it's like, this isn't quite what I meant by Dragonborn. It just looks like they put on someone's poor head, the poor thing. Wicked looking picture though for a warrior.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I,
armor's
I see what you
great.
mean.
Yep. All skin, and it's like, nope, but I made dragon gauntlets and helmet. Still got tiny sword though. Need big sword. Flux wielded as Y handler in the end. She's my easy go-to for testing AI stuff. Not that I encourage people to love AI, but when you run D&D games and you're just having fun with it, a little bit here and there doesn't hurt too much. But if you're making a D&D book about giants and you decide to throw one in there, expect people to get mad.
Yeah. Yeah, as long you're right. It's the profit element really does make a big difference.
If I'm buying a book that they put their artwork into, I expect it to be theirs. If your AI is being used to sculpt and edge your own work you've already done, fine. But when I look at the feet of your thing and they look like hands again, you've made a mistake here. Go back to the drawing board. Oh, goodness. Well, one quick spot, since we're almost at the halfway mark, well, a bit past the halfway mark for today. As you're approaching the door to this windmill, we'll go ahead and take a quick break. A good little spot for us to take our usual little break. So if we want to take a quick 15 minutes, we'll jump back in, and you can do some searching and find out what's been going on with the town's windmill, as its mechanics have been giving them some trouble. And where we left off before we went for a quick break, you had all just arrived at the mighty windmill. Now, it's spinning because, well, it looks pretty that way. Well, by all means, if you're looking to investigate and check the place out, not very many locals around the windmill itself.
I think I probably forgotten, but had this just broken down due to like time and wear and tear, or was it? It wasn't damaged in the last attack, was it?
No, just time, wear, tear, and falling apart, and most people not understanding how the mechanics would work to repair the pieces that are broken.
It's a cool little storage shed there.
In the back area. Though it's definitely seen better days, as it's beginning to fall apart for the top of it, and you can see through much of the detritus of the sidewall.
Yeah. I'm guessing that the door to the windmill is here.
Couple spots to get in, one at the very front area, and another side door here that you can easily axe.
Yeah, I thought maybe that might be a like a living area. But just just in case, the vaccine will knock on the door, see if there's anyone in. Don't want to startle anyone.
No response heard, just the hollow banging as you bring Knuckle to rest on door.
I'll try and open.
The door doesn't have too much trouble giving under your hand. Slowly opening, as you can see dust floating through the air, shining between beams of light, as this windmill has not been used in quite some time, most assuredly. But in front of you, you'd see a long, quiet hallway with a number of doors about it.
Does it must smell a little musty?
A little bit. It's got that cold lingering on the air of the hot, warm, putrid scent of wood that's long since been turned to dust and not being touched by anyone else.
I think just out of curiosity, I'll probably open these side doors, just poke my head in.
Glancing into the first room, as you take a peek on that side door, you would notice that it would appear to be a former kitchen-style area, with some goods and foods left out and a small basin of water. But most of these provisions have long since gone stale or dried up entirely.
And good measure, looks like a dining room.
For the most part, would appear to be a place somebody would definitely go to grab themselves a snack. A larger sort of table with a few extra chairs set, and tools and equipment, implying that this would be more for a group of people, as opposed to just one or two. There's also a set of stairs in the back corner of this room that would lead up to a loft overhead, which appears to mostly be used for storage, but has also fallen apart in majority of the places you'd walk.
Okay. Sorry, I was just typing. Is that just a cupboard or something at the end of this hallway?
Yep, just a small, low shelf without any storage left on it, bare save for some cobwebs that cling to it. As you open the door to the back of this windmill, as you peer in, you can see it still slowly spins around, connected to a set of large stones, though the actual mechanics within have been broken and it lies off angle. And you can clearly see why. The floor in this room is covered in paper. Books were shoved underneath the mighty milling stones, allowing them to rotate time and time again on top, until their pages were torn asunder, the book's spines broken, destroyed, leaving a pile across every corner of this room, and leaving the windmill itself broken and tilted off angle. It still spins and rotates at the very top, but that's about it. The bottom part, those two wheels that you see beautifully spinning in this picture, would be completely still if we were going to be mentioning what your characters are seeing. The actual mechanics long since disabled. And I was going to put a still image of it non-moving for a full map, but I wanted the automated map. And I wanted to make sure it was running for everybody. And it looks like someone did a good old book crushing in here and destroyed dozens, if not hundreds, of novels in the process, tearing them apart until their sheets were all sprayed across the floor like a textbook having popped its binder rings.
I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of things I expected to see in this room. What do you call it? A book's graveyard is not one of them. What an odd way to destroy books in a millstone. I thought you would.
Somewhere across the multiverse, Alistair grasps his chest in pain.
Oh my god. Oh no. What's happening?
Sorry, Dean, you were in the middle of saying something. I cut you right off. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, it's just. No, well, yeah, looks like a graveyard for books here. How strange. You'd expect them to burn the books and, I don't know, throw the metal rod into the gears. Yes, the vaccine will just casually, like, wander over to a pile of pages and just pick one up. See if it says anything other than random text here.
Picking up that one random sheet of paper and giving it a glance over as you do, you would find that it's the intricate design for an odd mechanical crank and how it connects onto another part that you're not 100% sure because you've only got one page out of that book, but it is incredibly listed and covered in arcanic symbols as well.
Oh, this was actually a bit more revealing than I thought it would be. And he'll hand it over to Nestri or Deacon. Because these are the guys that experience with the clockwork stuff. Looks like it's some kind of design book.
And it was shredded.
Well, as
Yeah.
Nestri and Deacon are being shown the page, Nestri would probably be looking at it thinking, oh yeah, that's a great piece of clockwork. Deacon would be looking at it and recognizing that crank very, very closely. Remember I said there were pages missing from your book that you found earlier in the library?
Yep.
That's one of them. It gives intricate designs on exactly how that crank handle mechanism that connects in is designed. One of the missing pages from your book.
So when you show that little piece to Deacon, he just puts his hand over his face like face palms and just lets out a groan of pain as he looks at it. Oh, no.
I don't think this is magical. Are you okay?
That's a missing page from the book that we have that could have been used to help me.
And glancing down at your feet, as I said, you see books, pages from dozens, if not hundreds of books sprayed about the floor.
Anyone else starting to get the... Oh, sorry, Dan.
I said, so Deacon just found a hobby?
He did. He's going to start looking through the pieces of paper.
I could almost feel that groan from Deacon, like, ah.
Anyone else starting to get the feeling that perhaps this, well, was obviously intentionally broken, but to destroy all workings of how the clockwork mechanisms work seems like someone had an agenda here. Well, Deacon, do you have the page numbers that are missing from your book?
I have the book. I didn't really look through the page numbers per se. I was just engrossed in the fact that I had finally found some information.
Oh, no worries. I just thought if you know what pages are missing, it might help you make a short list of pages that could go in there.
Downside is he doesn't have the last page to the book. But there's dozens of pages missing anyway. Most of the pages missing all directly relate to construction of that specific device.
Well, we still have the book with us, correct?
Oh yeah.
All right. So upon you bringing up what number is missing, I'm going to look through and see which numbered pages are missing to help narrow down the search.
As you're flipping through and you get to that last page, which itself was a ripped page anyway, you're flipping through and counting numbers. You're like, all right, this starts at page 369. Somewhere out there, someone's going to say, nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking it, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Essentially, you get that final page number, the one that would give you a good starter point for where you can line up. But you're not looking for a needle in a haystack. You're looking for a single piece of hay in a haystack.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say a single piece. There might be multiple sheets. Of doing such a thing, taking the time to dig through so much paper, though. Oh, I hope your character has some free time and some patience.
I mean, we're going to be here for a couple days to fix this windmill. He doesn't have much patience, but he doesn't exactly have a choice.
Oh, goodness. And there's also the windmill, broken as it is, that would require your investigative capacity. As we know, Nestri does have some background info where her father, I believe, was one who worked with clockwork and with all that machinery. So you had, I think I gave you a +4 circumstance bonus to rolls on those checks.
I don't recall exactly what you had said, but I asked if there would be something, because I did, like, without knowing, had included that in my backstory.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a +4. It was up on the chat when I first logged in this morning.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dan.
That's.
P.
I'm going to tip my own hat to myself, though. That's a pretty good memory for a few weeks.
Alan, you get a hero point.
Yay! I'll use it on the first enemy.
And
Cut some
didn't
bad
the-
guy down. They get back up. They're like, I used it to revive myself. It's like, you got 1 health. You're dead, buddy. I'm sorry. Cut you right off, Jameson. What's up?
Oh, it's all good. And didn't the book give us a circumstance bonus as well? I can't remember what, though.
Oh, no, that book is just golden info. I don't think it gave you a further bonus, because it's not too much to do with the clockworks of a large building like this one. Just entirely on products that you'd be interested in.
All right, fair point. I must have been misremembering. It's been a while.
I may have, but I would have been a slip if I did, I will be honest. Because it's got the basics of clockwork, but only to the degree of working on constructions. And I usually like the mechanical flair in my worlds, you'll notice. Even as things are super advanced, they'll still have a good hit of clockwork to them. I find that's what brings the fantasy element out. It's one thing to have a big old robot walk down the street. It's another when it looks like a grandfather clock, you know?
Mm.
I'm not much of a fan of, steampunk, but I do love my gears and cogs and wheels for constructs. I don't know. It's weird. It's a double-edged sword for me.
Well, if it would help out, I could look for your missing pages while you guys have a look at the machinery here, because I wouldn't know where to start with all these gears and such, but I can look at paper.
Taking your time to sort the pages is really what you're in for here. Going through, pulling up one, saying, oh no, this is romance novel. Pull up like 4 or 5 more pages. Deacon would just pause, look at them, fold them up, put them away, say, I will keep these for observation and study later. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. Yeah, I just figured,
But
while those guys are looking at the stuff, that's probably what Devaxian would do, because he's out of his depths of science stuff. Give him occult practices and strange magic to look at, but
The Vex can be looking over at Deacon's romance novel, be like, "You got anything good in there?" I
Yeah.
always default to making fun of romance novels when I make fun of literature, though I honestly have nothing against them. It's just there's so many of them, and a lot of people crank them out so quick that it's the one target I feel I can make a shot at. It's like making fun of a Canadian. You should be able to get away with it.
Yeah, I don't. I imagine the appeal of a lot of the romance novels isn't exactly their solid writing practices and structures. There's probably something else going on there.
Oh, there's something solid in there that's got people's attention.
Yeah.
I can't blame anyone for them. They've been selling them for a very long time. The Harlequin romance novels. There we go. That's what I was thinking. They are as timeless, and they will last as long as Hallmark movies for the holidays.
Yeah. You know, they do the job they're designed for. As long as people are reading.
I can almost even picture your character having this conversation as he's reading over a few of them, flipping through a few pages.
Yeah.
But this does bring up the important question. The mechanical repair, investigation, and etc. of the windmill. Jumping in on that one, it is a piece of machinery that requires a little bit of work and a little bit of doing to fix. The honest truth, though, is the one of the best skills for this one is going to be the crafting type of skill. Doesn't get used too much, but if you're going to repair something, crafting's the way it goes.
I can confidently say that everyone in the party is better at this than me, with my resounding +0.
Oh, goodness. Because it's repair time.
I have a +9 in crafting.
+11 expert.
Ooh. I think the whole team has pretty good for that one, except the vaccine.
Which skills are we looking at specifically? Sorry.
Crafting.
Crafting.
you're-
Okay.
You're going to attempt to fix a damaged item here.
Yeah. No. I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right stat.
Now, I'd love to say that Deacon would be all over this one too. For it, the only kicker is, I'm willing to bet, Deacon's probably like, "Oh, you can repair these things? Well, I got a library book to check out. Hang on." Because I just put info under his nose. So, right
You
now,
really did.
So, do I have a +7 +4? So would it be a +11 because of my prior knowledge?
Yep, that would actually bring you up
Oh.
on par with Phoenix.
Okay.
Goddamn
Cool,
super
cool.
intelligence over there with the big +4 base.
What you could try is, with a +11, you could try to do an aid check, which would give Phoenix a +2 circumstance bonus on top of his +11. I think
Sure,
that's
I
how it would
could-
work.
I could try that.
I will point out though, because doesn't Deacon get the +4 circumstance bonus as well? So that makes his crafting a +13.
If he's gonna craft, he might be searching through books at the moment.
But if I do get the +4, I would reluctantly fix the windmill.
Which would stick the other people on the team forgetting the sheets to see if they can find some more pages for your book to go through. If anybody else wanted to do that out of the kindness of their heart.
I think that's all the vaccine has to bring to the table just now.
Vaccine's pausing as he pulls up one, and you blow the dust off the cover, and it says Monster Manual 3.5. You're like, oh damn, so close.
A relic of days gone by.
I'll throw that one out there.
I've just been trying to think of, like, if fantasy themed romance novel titles like The Wood Elf and the Centaur.
Oh god.
Oh my. Oh god. That's mechanically fascinating.
I'm not sure you'd need to change too much. Like, from blood and ash, a promise of fire, a court of silver flames, radiant stardust, Outlander, Graceling, Rhapsodic, or my personal favorite, Twilight Book 1, Twilight. I can't make fun of the Twilight series too much. They made way too much money and were way too popular. But I'm still gonna make fun. Heck, I could even say The Princess Bride, but that was a movie and that was awesome.
The Princess Bride is really good.
Sometimes
it's-
they knock it out the park, and they did with that movie.
It's such a D&D movie without being a D&D movie.
I mean, that sword fight between Mandy and the other guy was just beautiful. Damn, they did some good choreography for that.
Yeah.
And just a good story from start to finish. And you get other ones like The Never Ending Story, and you're like, oh god, this is so horribly bad that it's awesome.
You know, one of the strangest things that's ever been said to me,
You're Scottish, I couldn't
Was-
fathom.
oh no, this'll get you. But, I mean, you've seen the size of me. I'm a big guy. I used to have long hair. Someone said that I looked like a Atreyu from Never Ending Story.
Oh god.
And I just stopped what I was doing. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, look, in a certain way. And I was like, unless that kid grew up, had a stroke, and put on a lot of weight, there's no no bearing to me whatsoever. That is insane.
I'm taking a look at them as an adult, and they're still a match.
Yeah, there's no way. It's one of the strangest things that's ever been said to me.
You
I
do
don't-
look like him though.
I don't know.
It's
I
the
don't know
facial
if-
features.
I
Like,
don't know if I
look
see
at a
it.
picture of that kid and tell me he doesn't look like your sister Jillian.
I don't know.
No, I don't. I think. I think I'm going to remain adamant that that person was wrong.
Now, before we jump back into game, make y'all roll checks, I will say, on the note of Atreyu in the Never-Ending Story, forget everything else out of all the scenes I've seen in all the movies over the years, even the stuff I pulled in D&D to try to break your hearts, nothing will ever compare to that horse.
Oh yeah, that was. I didn't expect it the first time I saw it.
Oh, that kills. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the curse for this swamp? It just makes you give up. What do you mean? You'll see. Try to take the horse
Yeah.
through. The horse is like, no, I'm done. We're done here, buddy. I'm done. It's like, no! Go, horsey, no! Oh, goodness.
You've seen Never Ending Story, right, Jillian?
As a kid, but I was traumatized, so I never watched it again.
Oh, right. So yeah. I can see you being very upset over the horse.
Of course.
Oh, God. Even, like, I looked at Atreyu, one of the first Google response videos down at the very bottom. I see a picture of the horse in the muck with him pulling with all he's got. It's like, nope, can't watch it. I can do all the other
Like-
scenes, but that's the one.
For Jameson, who doesn't know me that well, I cry at a lot of things, but especially like when animals are hurt or injured. It's just instant tears for me. I was talking to Courtney yesterday, and she was describing to me episode of Naruto where a character died, and she was just explaining it to me, and I could have cried, like
Oh.
sitting on the waterfront listening to the description.
Understandable.
If we're talking Naruto, admittedly, that was like their shtick. They're like, this is the bad guy. You're gonna hate them, and they're a horrible person, and everything you could ever imagine. But in one episode, we're gonna 180 your opinion and break your heart when we kill them. Like that's the show in a nutshell.
I mean, nobody cares about spoilers, right?
I know all of it, so it's not spoilers. I'm going to be honest.
For
So
Naruto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt I'm going to get there.
Yeah, she was telling me about when his mentor dies.
Oh,
in that
Jiraiya's
episode.
death.
Yes, she said she's only ever been able to watch it once and hasn't been able to go back to it.
Best character in the whole series.
Yeah.
brutal death.
Just the way that she was describing it to me, I was like, okay, we're gonna have to change the subject.
Absolutely love him because he first shows up and he's the biggest pervert you've ever seen, and he's outward about it too. And Naruto says to him, "God damn, you're a pervert." He looks at Naruto and says, "No, I am not. I'm a big one." Just to this day, I still laugh my ass off because he's even wiggling his fingers while he says it, and I'm like, "Master Roshi won't fly, but you? Oh yeah." He's like, "Go away, kid. I'm trying to spy on some ladies." And he goes, "Why are you trying to spy on the ladies?" And he goes, "What do you want?" Oh, goodness. All right, so on the subject of the repairs, you're going to tear this thing down apart and check it out. It's going to take hours. It's going to take the majority of the day, maybe even more than a day, depending on how broken it is and how damaged it is and how good your rolls are. And while you're doing that with Nestri giving aid, that means, and I'm just assuming, Dan, if two of them are going to be working on it, is Phoenix and Devaxian going to be doing some sorting together?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now, at this point, I am going to poke fun at Devaxian's intelligence at a 0, while Phoenix is sitting at about a 4. There's a lot of times that you've got these big piles of pages that you're going through. Devaxian would set one on a pile, you read it over, pick it up, and put it on a different pile, and he'd be like, "What?" And you just say the typeface. You can see there's a slight difference in the application, so that's a separate printing, which means it's a different book. And it's like, "But the writing is so similar." Yeah, probably the same artist. We'll see how it goes. "But the main character's name is similar." Probably a sequel. Like, that's the sort of headaches you hear the two of them dealing with as they're sorting through the pile. But as for this big one, well, if Nestri's providing aid to Deacon, or if Deacon's providing aid to Nestri is the first question, I'm going to need that roll to see if you can provide aid.
Okay.
Typically,
So just a crafting?
Yep. And you get the +4 to it because you both have the circumstance bonus. Typically, the DC's around 20 to give a +2 on a critical success. Depending on how much better your skill with crafting is, that goes up. But I don't think anyone's master or legendary on crafting yet.
Ooh, so that's up 22.
All right.
'Cause I didn't. That's just the +7. So I just.
That provides a +1 to Deacon's check.
All right, I have a question. How long has it been since we left the dungeon?
I'd say an hour or two. You've got the advantage of time on your hand now if you need a little extra time before you do something.
Oh no, I'm only asking because Nanite Surge kicks back in every hour, so I got another +2 on top of that.
All right, definitely roll it up. So that's giving you a +3 total. As you once again shimmer and shine for a brief moment at the start as you begin to examine. This is one of those times you're doing a check for something that you're doing over a long period of time. And as for our two characters who are searching through the books, due to Phoenix's abnormally high, and I say abnormal, but for characters it isn't, having a +4 on your intelligence means you're crazy smart enough that you do not need to roll a check for sorting through these pages. You are naturally a bookworm, so you're having no trouble going through, organizing them, and putting them up. But Deacon's going to have to give us that roll to see how you do for the de-assembly and the examination of this windmill.
So I'm just not sure how to add in all the pluses because there's a +4 circumstance from the knowledge of my knowledge with clockwork plus the +1 from Nestri's aid or something, wasn't it?
Yep. So that's +5 total right there. Plus another 2 for your nanite surges. +7 total to the roll. See, we knew this day would come in Pathfinder where it's, I get a plus from this, 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 and this, and this, and they'd all get confusing. But here's the first time it happens.
I just don't know how to add the +5. I now have a plus.
When you're doing your actual roll, I just put +5 in for it because it should give you the option under your skills. I'm still not used to where this thing is. Yeah, if I click on your crafting, yep, at the very bottom for the modifier circumstance where it says the +1, if you click on the +1 and make it instead +5 and click add, you will get, as you'll see me do a public roll here in a second, the full amount bonus on top. Aren't you happy that wasn't your roll? Geez, I rolled a 5. Oh, and I only typed in a +5 on that, not +7. +5, nanite surge, and circumstance bonus +5. So it does get your nanite surge because you did it. So it's smart enough to do that. So don't worry about that +2. Just the +5 is correct. That's the downside to a few things being automated. So when you roll that one up at the very bottom in the circumstance, pop in +5 as your nanite surge automatically comes through.
Okay, just 1 second.
I wonder why that is. I'm just going to double check. Yeah, nanite surge is still active on there. Cool. Oh god, you rolled exactly what I did. I want to say it was me again, but you know. With a +14 on the roll and rolling a 5, with a 19 total, you spend the entirety of today tearing apart the windmill.
Wait, can I re-roll that with a hero point and still have all the modifiers?
Yep. You totally can. Love the hero point for that feature.
Yep, because I this seems like something important, and I want to get this right.
I still can't believe we both rolled 5s. Like, that's... There we go. With a 28 on your roll. As you're examining, as you're looking things through, as you walk over at one point, as you're like, all right, I'm going to look at the clockwork examinations, and Nestri just grabs your head and tilts it back a bit and points at a different spot, and you're like, oh, right, because she's providing aid, but I'll use that for the excuse for the hero point check too, right? As you are examining through, you can see right off, and this does take a few hours, you have to disassemble the full thing. Many of the gears are stripped and worn, having been grinded against each other since they were offset and unbalanced while it was grinding over the books. It wouldn't be too hard of a job to forge new cogs for what's missing and to install them and get them put in there. With access to a forge, you imagine it would take you probably 2 hours at the most, and then another half an hour to install them. Essentially, a lazy afternoon. Getting to this point, however, did take you about 3-4 hours worth of your time. So you're looking at about 4:20 in the afternoon now, according to the game clock. But
Can't believe it.
you know how it is when you take something apart. Jillian knows it. She knows. Sometimes I'm sitting here like, I'm just going to pop the screws off this thing, put a new thing, and put it back together. 15 minutes tops. 4 hours later. What's also somewhat surprising is you're tearing this thing down. You're having trouble seeing how the base and the top connect to each other fully. They rotate, and you notice that the base rotates at a higher speed than the top. At first you were thinking, oh, this is gear ratio, but then you notice there's no gears. In fact, the two pieces are completely separate from each other and slightly hovering. You only notice this after you've stripped it down and torn it apart. And you can see a tiny green gem softly glowing, having been set in the middle of the actual clockwork itself. This seems to be what's allowing it to spin a little bit quicker below, but that seems to be a side effect of whatever magic effects that this strange little crystal produces. It's very rare to stumble to anything magical in the world, but you're quite certain that rock has some properties.
I'm going to show this to Phoenix. Call out to him, hey, does anyone know what this magic rock does?
Meanwhile, Phoenix and Devaxion are presently both reading over a first edition copy of Grognak the Barbarian, because I'm just going to throw that in there.
It truly is really amazing what you can achieve in a loincloth. I mean, this guy.
The only kicker is I'd love to throw up a picture of Grognak. I'm looking through... Oh, I found one. I was looking for one that didn't have a scantily clad lady on the front, because that's the point. They put that and Grognak looking like he's wearing nothing on the front of them because that was half their tongue-in-cheek joke to make it look like the old school stuff. But I found one. Found one. That's just my reference as well to Fallout. Fun game run, but at the same time, one book. Whenever I have, like, I had a team recently playing Descent into Avernus, and they got to the Candlekeep, and they're going through the library, and they're traveling, and one player's with Rhea, and they look at Rhea, and they're like, my intelligence is like 8. I don't read. Do you think they got picture books in here? And she goes, well, I found a one here. It's called Grognak the Barbarian. And for the rest of the session, that was their thing. I always put it in. It's a fun side note. But the vaccine is showing over to the group of you, well, mostly the Phoenix with their knowledge of the mystical arts, a strange green gem left in the middle of it.
I believe I have a thing. Second.
I mean, there's always the standard recall knowledge on Arcana that you can just toss one of those out.
I have...
BRB, just gotta use the bathroom right quick.
Yep. And what was that, Jillian, that you've got?
Quick identification. You can identify magic swiftly. You only take 1 minute when using identify magic to determine the properties of an item, ongoing effect, or location, rather than 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, good old identify. Now, if you didn't want to burn the feature, time is on your side, and 10 minutes isn't too long to burn. I'm not sure what the restrictions on that feature is, if it's permanent or if it's like once per day or something.
It just says general skill.
Oh, so you always can cast it for 1 minute now.
I think so.
Nice.
So I'll do it. I'll do quick identification.
Alright.
A version of that is like flipping through a book and just whipping out this random book and like, hang on, I have this left over from school, 1 sec.
Oh gosh. Because I think that identify magic is a fairly basic thing to do in this one. They don't really make it. You just need to be trained in Arcana or nature or what may it be.
Occultism or religion.
And this one's Arcana, mind you. Because it's definitely Arcana magic. So, let me double check on the roll here. All right.
I'm back.
Welcome back. So, you will need to make an Arcana check on that one to see what information you can identify over the minute as you glance it over.
Ooh. Can I use a hero point to reroll?
Oh, definitely.
Sweet. Oh, I forgot you have to right click on these to make them go away. It's the exact same.
The system's in a mood today.
Oh, jeez.
As you're glancing it over, you get an idea that what this thing is a gem that sits here and makes things extra fresh. Grain that would be pounded underneath these wheels would last considerably longer than the norm, would stow very well, would keep its flavor amazingly. You're not 100% sure the who, what, whys, wheres, and hows, the name of the effects, or a few other things like that. But you do have the basics for the knowledge. You've got a success, essentially, not a critical success. You would assume it's passive, but you're not 100% on that one. You don't think it's the thing that is activated. Normally you'd understand how to activate something, but this seems to be passive in how it works.
Gotcha. Share with the group.
Now, mind you as well, I do have good news for Deacon still. Because while this has all been going on, around this point, I'm going to say Phoenix would probably be walking over towards Deacon while rubbing their eyes and passing you with a binder clip on top, no less. Don't ask where it came from or why it exists in the setting. A pile of pages. As Phoenix nods, mentioning he found the last page first, so it was easy to find the rest.
Deacon is just going to let out a sigh of relief and say, "Thank you."
On top of that as well, that's not all that you found, though, Dan. Be a little rude of me to jump in and say, here's the thing that your character got for someone else. You might be just passing those notes over for good reason. Because I'm going to need some rolls from you in a minute here. As soon as my browser finishes playing catch up, here we go. So Dan, could you give me a roll of a D100 twice? All right. You found a number of spell scrolls among the collection here as you're going through. And you'll have to pardon me, I'm pulling these from a list. They also restrict the spells that are allowed to be on spell scrolls. I think to just spells that aren't concentration on them, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll double check that in a little bit. We're a little short on time at the moment, so I'm just going to pull go with my random runs here. So, Dan, first spell that you find is Pass Without Trace. And Spider Sting. Both of them on spell scrolls, no less. And they're both level 1 spells. But those aren't the only ones you found. Now, go ahead and give me 2d20 rolls to see what else you find. All right, you found a copy as well of Enlarge and a copy of Mirror Image. Those 4 spell scrolls among the pile. And like I say, if I've slipped and I've given something that I don't think they're don't think they're concentration spells. I normally have a few lists that I've already sorted that I can search through for things like this, but spells, well, I think a couple of you said it earlier, there is a lot in this version. And I'm putting that in the handouts, too, to make your life a little easier, Dan. But among the piles in the Detrius, you find those spell scrolls. And a spell book. The spell book, however, will take you some time. You'll have to decode it, take a look through, and see what is in there. So you know, a couple more hours worth of work. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
But goodies galore, because it would appear many of the novella that were being destroyed here were arcane in their design, magical in fact. So at this point, where you're sitting at about 4:30 in the afternoon, you would need to get your hands to a smithery in order to get a couple of the cogwheels rebuilt. Positioning this back into place, it's only a couple hours worth of work to install those wheels and to get it done. Probably something that can be easily done overnight if you feel so crazy, or you could come back the next day to finish it off after getting some parts made. But at the moment, the only thing you're truly missing are pieces. Now, with your repair skill, again, you wouldn't get your bonus to this one though, let me state. With your repair skill, you could attempt to file away and build new cogwheels yourself here with the parts provided, but there will be some rolls to try to do that.
But if I were to just commission some people to make the parts, it would just take more time, I assume. But
You'd go to your
require
local,
less rolls.
you go to local smithery, say, hey, could you? And they'd be like, 5 gold. And you'd say, we'll see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? By all means, you can certainly do that as well.
I think I have pushed my luck enough, and I would prefer to go to a smithery and get this done by a professional.
You've also got a whole boat ton of pages in that book. And, unless Dan was feeling a little bit chaotic with his character, they would have been put in order as well by Phoenix, stacked in the create read order. I always say unless he's feeling chaotic, because if there's one person I can't predict besides Courtney, it would be Dan. And it's a different thing for that, I should say. With Courtney, it was, you have no idea what crazy shenanigans she gonna pull. Final boss in the game, let's drop a sperm whale on his head. Okay. Dan, however, Dan's the man with the plan. So, you know. And we didn't say that originally. We don't say it because it rhymes and it's fun. We said it because it's the truth and it keeps happening. You know what we're saying, Dan.
Yeah, just some random BS that I picked up like 20 sessions ago.
Yep. You're like, I think this MacGuffin can solve the problem. And the Dungeon Master's like, yeah, that actually can. Very good. But with that, you've gained some information on how to repair this area, along with sorting through the remaining books. Now, the rest of them, unless you were specifically looking, there were a number of other books in here, but only the spell book and scrolls were of incredible value. It would take time to start putting the rest of the books back together, but most of them are just analogies, histories, basic information, a bunch of things that won't provide too much, but I'm pretty sure Dean's probably having his character shove a few of them into his bag, like, you know what, for my bullshit let's go ability, I can put you some of these notes.
I'm fairly sure that pages from a romance novel will inflict damage on a heartless creature. It's got to, right? Or if we ever fight, you know, a monk sworn to celibacy, I'll hit him with a romance novel.
Or flip
Destroy
that
his whole worldview.
Succubus shows up, you tell them you've been doing the job wrong, it's done like this, see, here's the notes and the proof for it, and you just throw their whole worldview out the window too.
Yeah.
Those usually don't pop up in D&D games for multiple reasons, but you know.
Since they were destroying everything magical related, they didn't even have anything alchemy, any chance of an alchemy book in here?
Of a what book?
An alchemy crafting book.
Ah, you would be able to find the remnants for an alchemical crafting book inside of here. It would take you a few hours to put them all back together into the right order. Because I assume your character would have paused, looked down, and it's like, I really want to do this for me, but there was this one we were helping Deacon with, and you look over, he's like lifting one of those stone wheels up with one of his arms because he's got the intelligence, but he's also got a 3 in strength, so you know. But you definitely would find an alchemical book for making those crafting potions, because I know we gotta get you started on that, right?
Yeah, well, it's also looking at, there's a chance I can get the one that makes you immune to the curse, so I'd be able to not only have the scroll to remove it from one of them, I can alchemy chemical potion for the other.
let me take a look here. Because I've only poked a little bit at the alchemical books, but they usually give you a couple things when you get them with the books. Let me sit on that for the week.
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I'll find something fun I can pop in there as well. But you definitely could find that in there. They would have destroyed that down to the nines, because most of the instructions wouldn't work for them anymore. Magic is but a faded glimpse of what the world once had. Well, since we're a little bit shy as well on time today, to give a little bit of a boost for next session, a couple pieces of information I can throw out, a couple little starts we can get. First off, getting those gears made. I'm willing to bet you might stop by a 3D print shop and say, hey, could you make, well, say 3D print shop, but that's essentially what is happening for you. A quick order at the local smithery to get that processed? For once,
Yeah.
we're going to do that as a
Oh,
hand
yeah.
wave. You can feel free to go there and do some shopping if you actually got some things you want to buy and all that, but it's going to be a very gruff, very buff elf, and she doesn't take shit off anybody's back, and she is rough and tough as nails, but she's the politest person you've ever met. Go figure. She's more than happy to assist, and she doesn't intend to charge you for the work, since it's for the old windmill, and they all could use that help. In fact, you get a good air from them. The happy smile of, my goodness, you're actually going to help us out. You're good people. But as much as I'd like to dwell on that, I'm willing to bet Deacon's probably curious what information he might find in that book.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and switch the map over. As of right now, you've got yourself a nice comfy spot that you're at. But let's switch us to the lakeside. The nice tavern in this town, Because at this point, it's around 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish at night as time's going on, as you set yourself up with that. I'm just not a fan of making players do accounting work while they're playing, so as you leave that behind and make your way to the tavern, this one is run by a single human male who's also single. They got nobody and nothing going on. Very straightforward for them, and usually a happy look to their face. But let me go ahead and pull you all onto the map here. They actually changed my filters, and they added one called The Party now, so I'm going to have to move everybody into that. You also find out, as you're making it towards this area, that Ulog had gone to secure your provisionings and works, because you end up bumping into the the full orc, who gives you all the wave like, oh, hey everyone, good to see you again. But not much to be said for them. However, while the rest of you have to go ahead in the common room, and feel free to just wander through this map as much as you want, it's just here to look nice. Though there's a nice common room on the far eastern portion that you can see just a little bit through the window, Ulog was given his own private chamber. Since he was first there to discuss things, to get things running and to get things operating, he signed off for your information, passed all of it over, and his reward was a private room to himself while the rest of you have to share a room. Not the largest one, but the Lakeside Inn, as it is called, is a bustling place. There's usually a good number of people here. Most of the tables always have some. And there's also the tavern owner themselves standing behind the bar.
After being in the caravan for so long, this is it's delightful. Yeah.
And the tavern keeper, who has short, curled red hair and some green eyes, along with very soft white skin, doesn't look like they see outside a lot, looks towards you with a nod and a smile and says, oh, great, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I try to keep the place running well.
I heard that you recently had some some trouble with the last visitors to town. I hope that that's not too common an occurrence.
Yes, it was not a very fun time for us, I will admit. The sea elves attacking our town in bulk and cutting down their fellow was not the greatest thing to see, but our mayor, who at the time was not our mayor, but he earned his stripes that day, charging valiantly into the fight and cutting down so many of their number. Why, so long as we've got him on our side, we have very little to worry about here.
He seems look like a pretty straight shooter.
Indeed. Now, he's only been in the town for a year or two at the most, mind you, but he's definitely proved himself to us many times over. A good mayor that they are. So fortunately, unlike your Sander town, it looks like the mayor here is a badass.
I am actually quite surprised to hear that he was only here for a year before he, or when he was mayor. I thought you would have had to be here a little bit longer to earn that position.
Generally, you probably would be correct in such an assumption, but as he points at the top of his noggin, he says, "Heavy be the head that wears the crown, and personally, I would not want it to be mine. Very few of us would like such a role in these trying times. But even then, for an outsider to contain it is exceedingly rare. But, like I said, when you make a hero of yourself in battle and save a town from what we assumed was demise in the night, well, that goes a very long way for your campaign, doesn't it, friend? Haha."
Yeah, certainly seems to be the case. We're hoping to help in a less heroic capacity by fixing the mill there. Hopefully set you guys.
The old windmill. Oh, we would be most assuredly grateful to have that fixed. My word, has not been spinning for a very long time. With that going once again, the grain will be much tastier. It makes a really good mead, I am sure you can understand and appreciate.
Yeah, well, I look forward to we'll probably be moving on before you have a chance to make anything with it, but hopefully we'll be back, try it sometime.
Tavern Keeper's going to be giving a hearty laugh as you're speaking. You'll notice they've now poured up 4 drinks that they set down before you get to that next question as they nod, adding, "For your assistance to our town, then please have at least one on the house from me for the group of you. It is the least we can do if you are helping us."
Oh, thank you very much. Well, cheers. Happy to help. We scratch your back, you scratch ours for letting us buy supplies for the caravan. Do you know the history of the windmill? Who used to run it? And it seems like it was, well, maybe damaged on purpose.
Well, that windmill was there for a very, very long time. Predates our town, in fact. It is said our ancestors found it and decided that we would set up here for our homes, but that was many hundreds of years ago. It was, for the most part, functioning entirely, until we were raided. Unfortunately, it was struck hard and damaged. Little more, though, I know beyond that. I know we used to have a woman who stayed there, very old, somewhat addled-minded, but they say she had the vision. Alas, she left after the place was attacked. She also said something about damn you all and took her knowledge with her, but that is beyond my capacity.
Interesting. And she must have left a while ago then.
Shortly after we were raided a month ago.
Okay. Damuel, was she angered that her windmill wasn't defended?
She did not appreciate that we use the windmill as well for crushing books. Apparently, that did not go over well with her, but it's not something I took part in.
Well, this was a fairly recent thing to crush books.
Yes, we had grown weary with the ways of magic and the lies that it permeates.
Ah, right. Because of magic no longer works, so kind of a bad reminder of days gone, I guess.
Indeed. From what I gathered, the intent was to mash them up to create a powder from them and use that for a caulking fill for our walls in order to make our homes a little warmer, but no matter how much we grind, apparently those sheets would not yield. Personally, it is not something I worry about. Financially, I do well enough that my walls are dual layered, and my home stays very warm and comfortable for my guests.
Well, I'm happy for you. It's a nice, very nice tavern that you have here. Oh,
It is birch maple, and he smiles with another nod.
this old woman, do you know where she went? Did she go west, east, north?
He takes a moment, lifts a hand up and takes the hat off of his head and puts it over his heart, and looks down with a little bit of a sad look. The lady decided she would bear the wastes, then stay here any longer. May her soul find eternal peace.
Well, when she find peace, the vaccine will kind of look over to the rest of the party. He's thinking, oh, if she went west, maybe if she's clever enough, we might find her if she survives. So the wastes are west, right? I'm not misremembering that. Okay, cool.
I imagine
I'd
the
definitely
vaccine.
like to talk to her, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You may just yet. Maybe. Oh, wow, my phone's suddenly going crazy. And it's Uber Eats. What? I had you blocked. 40% off grocery order of $70 or more. Hey, that's actually not bad. I should look into that.
That's $70 or more is depressingly too easy to reach.
I go buy some milk,
nowadays.
bread, eggs, and a block of cheese. $117.95. It's like, wait, what? Jeez. Oh, the grocery run.
Is anyone else at the stage nowadays where they pick up something and see the price and go, stuff that, just put it down. I'll figure something else out.
It's like, I'm gonna have me nice bananas for supper, and I pull it up. It's like $2.50 for a pack of banana. It's like, what? Organic, 99 cents. Okay.
Yeah, that was Mom and I were just. I think you were there because she was at the house. I think when we were talking about it, or maybe you weren't. Anyway, but my mom said she went to go buy olive oil and saw the price of it and was like, "No, you know what? I'm just gonna get a different kind of oil." So she got avocado oil.
Oh gosh, I have to get mine a 2-pack from Costco. It's the only place to afford it now. It's
Well, yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing too. Because we had olive oil on our list.
because
Last time I went to go get groceries, and I texted you, and I'm like, I'm not buying olive oil. This is ridiculous.
I'm even looking at mine and it's getting low, and I'm looking at the price and I'm just like, canola oil? Maybe a little butter in the pan instead?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, as our session's winding out on time today, there is one other thing to point out. Because I'm guessing while all this conversation's going on, did Deacon maybe just flop down, start reading through his book?
He has been just barely following along the back of the group and reading the book.
It's like flipping a page. Old lady. Oh yeah, windmill with destruction. Oh yeah. And we also got some tar berries sticking to my foot. Really? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I seen that. As just flipping through. Well, what I'm gonna do, since it's getting late in time in the game, and evening is just around the corner, I'm gonna push that clock forward. You get a nice meal at this tavern. They have no trouble giving you a free meal for the night. The quote being basically, hey, you're all doing us a favor fixing up our problems. The least I can do is give you a warm meal for your hard work. Even if you don't get any further, blah, 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 you know. Meanwhile, the vaccine would still be reading through, or Deacon would still be reading through. The D's get me. At least I catch myself when I get them wrong. Deacon would be reading through his book for more information. You might remember the previous week I mentioned you saw what appears to be a signature at the bottom of the last ripped page. -STR was written on it. The rest of the theme's like, we know who that is. But they're wrong. It's one of my fake outs. Ha ha ha. The bottom of that book quite specifically says... I'm going to type this one out. Literally, even with the less than 3 written on it. You find the signatures, you find the other half of that page is a note on who looked it over. And this person, as you start flipping through the pages, you immediately realize designed this, wrote through it, and has numerous calculations on exactly how it works, what powers it, how much strength it uses to require. Goes into great detail to finding how such an object is incredible in that it would grant pure sentience to something. Give it life beyond just being a machine that has been granted life like a Warforged or something similar. This singular device would be a paradigm shift for how things are created, except when you get to the notes at the very end. All of that, however, is disproven by one last line that unfortunately is going to mean you're no further off from where you started on this one. Because as you read through the notes, as you see the power requirements, the usage, the style, design, how it burns through its own energies, as we get closer to nightfall coming outside, as only the warmth of the fire left in the center of this room would be illuminating that book as you read through, it confirms without shadow of a doubt that there isn't a single damn thing in this world powerful enough to run that heart. You can crank it to your heart's content, but there's no power source that could use to activate it. For all intents and purposes, this great gift sitting in your character's chest should not work.
Cue internal screaming.
Is this the plot of, is it Iron Man 2? Whenever his power device stops working.
Oh, goodness.
Is it 2, Beth?
Yes, it was poisoning him. That was what the
Oh, it was poisoning him.
It says.
That's correct to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. I'll honestly admit that's the only one I didn't watch. I skipped 2.
Oh, Iron
Well,
Man 2 is a good one!
Has well, he still has his heart though. I think is this not the case where like his little powered heart should never have worked in the first place?
Exactly. There is no source within that could be placed in that heart to be charged by the crank that would give enough output to power the heart for what it's capable of. Nothing in this world. And the notes start scrawling down. I even went further. I went beyond this world. I started using many different ideals and concepts and power outputs. I tested against an orb of dragon kind. I even figured, hey, maybe if we throw a hand of Vecna in there, like all these notes on so many magical items that you've never even heard of. And not one would come remotely close to the power requirements to make that heart tick. Yet here it is, ticking away in your chest. So long as you keep it wound.
Okay, after hearing it was impossible, it was internal screaming. After reading all the magical items, he tried to make it work. If anyone nearby, he would be shaking a little bit and just like, ah!
The gears are literally grinding.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. You know what this means? This means the Dungeon Master has plans. I
That's
did
a
warn him.
dangerous It's a dangerous position to be in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something to have a little bit of fun with as we go. I did ask if you had an idea, if you wanted me to run with it, and I'm running with it because I got some ideas. You'll see them go
Run
the
as
campaign
far
goes.
as you can with it.
It's like you see the previous book, it says STR. Oh, okay, we know who that is. We know who wrote this, and then I show you this week who actually wrote it, and the team's like, well, we were technically right, but not the right person. That being said, do you share the notes and all that with the others so they see the actual wordings and all that? Because, I mean, obviously seeing my name get tagged on a book might register with them.
He wouldn't say anything. He would just hand the book over to whoever's nearby and just say, you deal with that. I gotta go lie down and wind my crank.
Is that a euphemism?
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. His chest like parping apart. No, it's not a euphemism. Crank, 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 crank.
He wouldn't even respond. He'd just take off his chest piece and start cranking. He's like to a
goodness.
ridiculous degree. He's terrified out of his mind right now.
Oh, goodness. See one of them hand crank radios? The lights would burn out of the damn
With
thing. He's
one of
going
his
so
weird
mad.
thighs. Sorry.
Oh, what was that?
No, I'm sorry. I was talking to my sister. I forgot
Oh.
I didn't put my thing on mute.
No worries at all.
Alan. Alan wrote this book. Oh, he's been here.
Nestor just like, I'm gonna sit down. Just probably misses the stool and plops on the floor.
Oh, goodness. The plot thickens, it would seem.
Interesting. Right. Well, I should go because my sister's here. But thank you very much, Alan, for the game. I'm glad we finally
Alrighty.
got to play
It-
again.
Well, if you've got 2 more minutes, I got one last
Okay.
thing. Because
Okay, yeah. She
As
can
mentioned.
wait. She's fine.
you're all going to bed, and you're all having yourselves a good time and relaxing, except for, Deacon. Meanwhile, is just sitting there like, the Dungeon Master hates me. Why am I being tortured? And I just lean back and I'm like, because it's fun. But, like it is with most things that you've dealt with, and like it is with most situations you find yourselves in, it is very rarely so easily placed that you have a good regular night's sleep when you've had a day where no monsters jumped you. No, no, no. You'd all be woken up in the wee hours of the morning, only slightly after 3 o'clock, 3:15, 3:20 in the morning, as you can hear screaming from inside the main hall area. And since I'm going to do this as sort of a next time on Pathfinder preview, as you rush out of your rooms individually, storming out into the hall to see what's going on, maybe only partially equipped with your armors because, you were asleep, or resting, if you don't sleep. Maybe drawing weapons, coming out as quick as you can and charging out, you would see a less than wonderful sight as Born Drake, the innkeeper, standing with a candle held in hand, the other hand over his mouth, having just cupped the scream, and you can see, as well, your good friend is there. We've got John's character, Ulag, who's presently walking in a pair of jammies. I don't know what his character would be sleeping in, but if he says nude next week, I'm gonna kick him. I'll just be like, no, and I'll give him a boot right across the face. No, your character was wearing pants, okay? Pants. But his character is standing there with a shocked look on his face. Because lying dead on the floor in a pool of their own blood before him is the mayor, with the innkeeper pointing at Ulag, saying, murderer.
I knew you put him in his own room for a reason. I knew it.
Yo, you know it. You know I did that for some reason. He was getting up in the middle of the night to maybe go have a wee, because we all know that pain. And I pull him with a sneaky. Because next week, you've got to deal with a murder at the Lakeside Inn. The mayor is dead. And you're all the prime suspects.
Can we get to play Clue?
Can you guess who? It's a mystery. Oh, shoot. That's Guess Who, not Clue. Shit. Wrong game got in my brain.
You know it's going to turn into that episode of The Office, don't you, Alan?
Oh, I've
I
not
do
seen.
declare there's been a murder.
I'm going to write that down, though, so I can watch it, because I have them. Murder Mystery Episode Office. There we go. I'm making note of that. Indeed. Now, admittedly, Jillian, you're spot on. One of you randomly would have gotten that room. But since John's not here, I'm pinning it on your character, John. Don't be too mad. And of course, his character's looking at the party with his hands up like, and you don't even have to roll a check. You believe him. He's like he's wearing the brown shorts.
Can you imagine, though, like, John plays next week and he just decides to go completely chaotic with his character and goes, I did it.
Oh, God. Well, here's the other thing. If John's out next week, they'll just lock his character up. So, makes life easy.
Yeah.
Or if anybody misses next week's game, maybe the blame will shift slightly and your character will get locked up because of trying to help or something. I don't know. But as you can see, I got a little flexibility now. So you all have one of the more interesting things to deal with. Murder mystery. All right. A who done it, a who did it, and how did they do it? All good questions.
Yeah. Me and Jillian should be good for next week, but the Thanksgiving weekend will be
Oh, God. That's
unavailable. Yeah.
I think that for all of us is going to be a no-show. I'm definitely out. I need my turkey. And I got to say...
Should we just go on without Alan, you guys? I think we could do it.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
I couldn't because I don't know how, but my parents, my mom and dad, they have two separate Thanksgivings, and they always line up on the exact same day. So
Oof.
turkey, lunch, and dinner. It is the 1-2 combo that just puts me down every year.
Oh,
That was
I'm
perfect.
jealous a
I'm
little
also
bit on
jealous.
that one.